You see this door right here? This my truck. This is the dead end. Okay, hold on, I'm about to show you. This is what they don't teach you in trucking school. This is why you gotta really get your game up. And I'm gonna be honest, sometimes it's not worth it because I say get in the game, get your own truck, see as much money as you can. Otherwise, it's not worth it. So hold on, let me look at this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull up, and you see that driveway up there? I'm gonna use part of that driveway to do my turnaround to get in between these two dock doors. Now this slight work for me because I've been doing it for a while, but this is not quite a rookie setup. You see that thing that what a yellow sign is? Somebody have been and hit that, not knowing what they doing. You gotta use all of the space that's available to you in order to get it popping. Man, I'm right here in the great state of Texas, Dallas. Man, I'm out here in the trenches right now. I'm gonna have to back that thing up from the road. Watch out for the cars. That's just what kind of time we on today. That's why I don't be wanting to hear none of that foolishness people be talking about. I'm telling you, I don't want to hear nothing talking about we lazy, we don't want to work. I don't want to hear none of that, man. Get on my face with that foolishness, man. We've been grinding, man. You feel me? But I learned in this system, it's not who worked the hardest that get the most money. It's the people that don't work at all that get the most money. Result though, we got it in there. I had some help though. OG came in made sure nobody pulled up on me on the road. Guys, this stuff got some stuff that dripped all on the trailer. It's really nasty and funky. I think I'm desensitized to the smell right now, but whatever the chemical is, they're about to get it right. This week, guys, the lesson that I learned is that sometimes you just have to figure out what is your hierarchy of needs, from your most basic needs, food, water, shelter, clothing, breathing, being at a level state, safety and security level 2, love and belonging level 3, basically interpersonal relationships, self-esteem level 4, and level 5, self-actualization. This is known as Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And this week I felt as though level 2, I secured level 1 the last earlier this month with getting my own residence, having my most basic needs met. I've been working for the last 2 months straight without a break, and I just was like, man, I really felt fatigued and trying to balance money, finances, the things that I want to do, health, and all of this other stuff, which is a little bit higher up on the list. I just had to take a break. I reached a point where I told the job, like, hey, I told them earlier in the week, like, I wanted to get off Thursday, or at latest, Thursday night. And so I started work Sunday morning. So by the time Thursday come around, for me, I've already worked 5 days. So my Thursday is really a person who starts working Monday, their Friday. Okay. So Wednesday, which was yesterday for me, was actually my Thursday. And I had told them in the beginning of the week, like, hey guys, the plan is to work 5 days on, 2 days off. Well, they wanted me to work an extra day. Currently, we have in Texas the president, or the leader of the Department of Transportation, Sean Duffy. He was in Austin, Texas, and was basically making a referendum saying that they want English speaking only drivers in CMVs. And so this created a lot of conflict in the media and in Texas. So the way stations, the police have been really on task this week with stopping truckers, doing inspections. Last week was Blitz Week. Blitz Week is when they do mass inspections. They wanted to stop at least basically close to 100,000 truckers and check out their CMVs for, quote, safety protocols, unquote. But it's really a way for them to enforce what they have going on. Well, man, I've been so tired of dealing with the police out here. Even though I'm clean, even though I'm riding legal, because if you get a ticket, that ticket, you either fight it or it stays on your record for 2 to 3 years. And no one, well, me, I speak for me, I don't want to deal with stuff like that. Like, it's hard enough doing this job, being away from home. And then when you have police officers in these little small towns, these way stations, and then in Texas, there's so many different way stations. Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana. I got to go to Oklahoma today. It was just a lot. And I became frustrated. And I was like, man, guys, like, I really want to, stick to the plan. So I asked them, hey, when are you guys planning on routing me home? And then they said Friday night. And I said, nah, that's a no-go. I was like, bro, get me home Thursday night, or make a plan to be heading me towards the direction Thursday night. And I said, I don't want to be out here any longer than I have to be, because the block is hot right now. And I think that sometimes these companies, I felt as though my hierarchy of needs, which was my personal safety, was being put at risk. Like, if I get a ticket or me being fatigued, like, I've already done over 2,000 miles. So I'm about to max out my hours anyway. And the last thing any trucker wants is to run out of hours away from home, right? And they looking at it like, well, you're going to make money, but no, really, they are the ones that's making more money off these little loads. I mean, I might get a couple $100 extra, you know what I'm saying? Which at the end of the week, it do add up. Like, having an extra $1,000 or $600-700 onto your check, after taxes, and another, so let's say my normal check would probably be $1,800. And if I do a few extra loads, all right, I'll walk away with $2,500. Well, that's cool, if you only think about the money. But once you start thinking about your personal safety, is a couple $100 worth something that's going to stay on your record for hours at a time if one of these police officers pull me over and decide to write me a ticket for no reason at all? And before anybody in the comments say, why would a police officer write you a ticket for no reason at all? Listen, CMV drivers know you're in a mechanical vehicle. They could find any reason to write you a ticket, no matter how much you are inside the lines. Okay, they could find a reason to write you a ticket. And a lot of these way stations are in towns where they only have about 4,000, 10,000 people, sometimes less than that. So the truckers that drive through these towns are the money makers for some of these municipalities. So I just told them that I didn't want to do it. I say, and I told them, I say, look, you know what? I say, I was like, route me home, or else I say, bro, when I get back to the yard, bro, I'm going to just park the truck and I'm going to just go get another job, because there's other jobs where I can work locally. So I was like, I really don't want to be in a situation where I'm dealing with something that's unnecessary. If you're willing to put my personal safety at risk because you are going to capitalize on it, I don't want to work with you at all anyway. And, I'm never afraid to stand up for myself, because I'm not going to risk my life. And it's just not advantageous. And I told the manager, I'm like, hey, bro, my life is more important than money. I don't care how much money the next load is going to pay you. My life is more important. I'm fatigued. I'm already at the end of the week. I done already driven 2,400 miles. I'm ready to go home. I need to recoup. And then since I've been rolling so hard the previous 7 weeks straight, 34-hour reset is not enough. So I told him, I said, you know what, route me home. And if you don't do it, I was like, bro, I'm going to park this truck. Y'all go find you guys another driver. And also, I told them, hey, next week I'm not coming to work. I'm taking it off because I need a break. I wanted to work through the second week of June, but when I weighed the options, I'm like, I miss my son. I want to spend some time with my family. You know, my hierarchy of needs kicked into place. And I realized that my priorities at this point is not driving this truck. And their priority is pushing me as hard as I could go. So now we're at a fork in the road. And do I want to leave the company? No. Do I want to lose my job? No. Do I want a job that align more with my lifestyle? Of course. When I took this job, guys, the goal was to use this job to get my residence straight. And it wasn't 100% of what I wanted. It wasn't even really 3/4 of what I wanted. It was about 50% of what I wanted. It was a job that was based out of Houston, and it was a job that could get me to and from Houston. But I actually wanted a job where I could go home every night and have my weekends off. Work 8 to 10 hours, go home. That's what I actually want. Instead, what I'm getting is I'm spending really 70 hours away from home. They want me to take a 34-hour reset and then get back on the road. And I had to tell them about that also. I'm like, hey, when I go home after rolling so hard for you guys, I say, I'm not rushing to get back on the road. If I take 2 or 3 days to get back on the road, that's just what it is. Like, because when I get back in the truck, you're going to try to keep me in the truck as long as possible. And so we reached an understanding. I don't think that they're a bad company. I just think that, with this current administration, everything that's going on in the trucking industry, it is a really stressful time for everyone involved. So this week, what I learned is to stand on business, evaluate your priorities as an individual, and don't be afraid to tell others like, hey, what you asking me to do or what you want me to do go against what my priorities are. Luckily today, the load that I have is only about 10,000 pounds. So I don't really have to worry about weigh stations and stuff like that. The last 2 loads, guys, were like at max capacity. So when you pass the weigh stations on the road, they're more likely to mess with you because they pick up your scale and it's like, okay, this person is close to the max, pull in. The more times you pull into the weigh stations, the more likely you are to get an inspection, the more likely they are to mess with you. When you work for a smaller company, the more likely they are to mess with you. Now if you're working for a big company like Walmart, Target, JB Hunt, one of the major corporations, they're less likely to mess with you because they have enough money to get the pre-pass. And I do have an elite pre-pass, but if you're a smaller company, they're going to mess with you. That's just how the game goes, They're more likely to go after smaller fish, And this week I just had to stand on business and say I wasn't feeling it, And afterwards, mysteriously, they was like, okay, we're going to get you home. We're going to get you home, this and that. And, sometimes people will try to push you out of your comfort zone. And if you don't stand up for yourself, male or female, child or adult,